Imagine walking through a dark park at midnight. Out of nowhere, a dude steps out of the shadows, pulls a literal knife on you, and presses it against your throat. What do? Beg for your life? Scream? Go into absolute panic mode. Well, a real woman known to scientists only as Patient SM was in this exact situation. But instead of crying or fighting, she looked the mugger dead in the eyes and, with absolutely zero negative aura, confidently told him he'd have to go through her guardian angels first. The mugger was so incredibly freaked out by her unhinged main character energy that he dropped the knife and ran away. She didn't have ice in her veins. She literally, biologically, lacked the ability to feel fear. Her brain's panic button was completely cooked. Today, we are diving deep into the absolute glitch in the matrix that is human fear. We're going to look at the brain-eating parasites that can literally delete your fear, how you are carrying the PTSD of your ancestors in your DNA right now, no cap, and why some of you actually pay to get jump scared. Strap in, because by the end of this video, everything you thought you knew about being scared is gonna be completely shattered.
Hey, welcome back to MindSpark, a place where curiosity comes alive. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered what would happen if things suddenly changed? Instantly? Stick with me, because the answer is way more shocking than you think.
Welcome back to MindSpark, the only channel on the internet that lives rent-free in your brain to bring you the wildest, most mind-blowing science in the universe. I'm your host, and today we are talking about the science of fear. Now look, we all hate being scared. Nobody likes that awful, pit-in-your-stomach feeling when you think you hear footsteps in your house when you're home alone. That's absolute NPC behavior right there, just freezing in the dark. But biologically, fear is the ultimate W. It's the highest-tier survival mechanic your body has. Without it, humanity would have been wiped out by saber-toothed tigers millions of years ago. But what actually happens inside your skull when you get jump-scared? How does a harmless shadow turn your entire biological system into a chaotic mess? And more importantly, what happens when that system gets hacked, corrupted, or completely shut down? To understand fear, we have to look at the hardware. And your brain has a literal VIP security system that operates faster than your conscious mind can even process. Let's say you're hiking, and out of the corner of your eye, you see a long, curved, scaly thing on the ground. A snake. Boom. Instantly, before you even realize what you're looking at, your body violently jerks backward. How did you move before you even thought about moving? Let him cook, because your brain is doing some insane math right now. When your eyes see that visual data, the snake, it sends a signal to a part of your brain called the thalamus. Think of the thalamus as the ultimate router, the central hub of your brain's Wi-Fi. Now, the thalamus has a choice to make. It sends the data down two different pathways at the exact same time: the high road and the low road. The high road is the smart route. The data goes from the thalamus to your sensory cortex, which is the logical, big-brained part of your setup. The cortex takes its sweet time analyzing the image. It's like, let's examine the pixel structure. Oh, wait, that's not a snake, that's literally a garden hose. We're good, chat, but the sensory cortex is way too slow. If that was a real venomous snake, by the time your cortex figured it out, you'd be absolutely cooked. Game over. So, the thalamus also sends that data down the low road hyperfast. VIP Express lane straight to a tiny, almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's completely unhinged security guard. It doesn't care about logic. It doesn't care if it's a hose or a snake. It operates on pure vibes, and the vibes are always bad. The second the amygdala gets that signal, it hits the panic button. Instantly, it triggers the HPA axis, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands. This is the ultimate system override. Your adrenal glands, sitting right on top of your kidneys, dump a massive payload of adrenaline and cortisol directly into your bloodstream. Your pupils dilate to let in more light so you can spot the threat. Your heart rate skyrockets, pumping blood away from your stomach and directly into your major muscle groups. Your digestive system literally shuts down, because who needs to digest a spicy chicken sandwich when you're about to fight for your life? Your lungs expand to pull in more oxygen. This entire sequence, this massive biological metamorphosis, happens in milliseconds. It's the ultimate I am him buff. Your body goes from a chill resting state to a peak physical weapon designed only to fight or run. But what if you didn't have an amygdala? What if the bouncer at the club just straight up quit? Remember the woman from the intro? The one who completely clowned a mugger with a knife. Her name in medical literature is patient SM, and her case completely broke neuroscience. SM suffers from an incredibly rare genetic condition called Urbach-Wyeth disease. It's so rare that only a few hundred people in recorded history have ever had it. What this disease did to SM is wild. Over time, it specifically attacked her amygdala, calcifying it. It literally turned her brain's fear center into stone. Because of this, SM physically cannot experience the emotion of fear. And scientists have tried everything to scare this woman. They essentially treated her like a real-life test dummy for horror. Researchers took her to one of the most terrifying haunted houses in the world, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, during Halloween. While the researchers themselves were screaming and jumping at the actors, SM was just walking through like she was at a grocery store. At one point, a monster jumped out to scare her, and she reached out and poked it in the face out of sheer curiosity. The monster broke character because he was so confused. Absolute zero fear, infinite aura. They showed her the scariest horror movies ever made: The Shining, Silence of the Lambs, The Ring. Nothing. She rated her fear level as a 0. They took her to an exotic pet store and handed her massive, dangerous snakes and tarantulas. She literally asked to pet the tarantula's hairy legs. That is not normal human behavior. That is unhinged. But here is the truly mind-blowing part about SM. The lack of fear didn't make her a superhero. It made her incredibly vulnerable. Fear is what keeps us alive. Because she had no fear, she couldn't recognize danger cues in her environment or in other people. She had zero concept of sketchy. That's why she was walking through a dangerous park at midnight. She couldn't read the negative aura of the mugger approaching her. Her brain was completely blind to threats. It proves that fear isn't just an annoying feeling, it's a vital radar system. When your radar goes down, you are essentially flying blind in a world full of predators. But SM's condition was genetic. What if I told you there's an organism out there that can manually hack your brain and delete your fear on purpose? Okay, chat, prepare to have your minds completely blown because we are entering sci-fi horror territory. Let's talk about Toxoplasma gondii. This is a microscopic parasite, and it is responsible for the craziest biological hack on planet Earth. This parasite's ultimate goal in life is to reproduce. But there's a catch. It can only reproduce inside the intestines of a cat. I know, it sounds weird, just stay with me. So, how does a microscopic parasite get into a cat's stomach? It uses mice. When a mouse accidentally ingests Toxoplasma gondii, usually by sniffing around soil or cat droppings, the parasite enters the mouse's bloodstream. But it doesn't stay there. It travels straight up to the mouse's brain. And specifically, it targets the mouse's amygdala. The parasite literally rewires the mouse's brain chemistry. Normally, mice are terrified of cats. The scent of cat urine is like a massive red flag, a biological siren that screams, "Run." But the parasite alters the mouse's dopamine pathways. It completely deletes the mouse's fear of cats. But it goes one step further. It actually makes the mouse attracted to the scent of cat pee. The mouse develops what is essentially a fatal attraction. It struts out into the open, zero fear, acting completely sus, trying to find a cat. And of course, the cat easily catches and eats the fearless mouse. Boom! The parasite is now inside the cat's stomach, right where it wants to be to reproduce. The parasite literally mind controls the mouse into committing self-deletion just to complete its own life cycle. That is peak biological villainy. But wait, it gets crazier. Because mice aren't the only ones who can catch Toxoplasma gondii. Humans can get it too. It's estimated that up to 1/3 of the global human population is infected with this parasite right now, mostly from cleaning litter boxes or eating undercooked meat. For a long time, scientists thought it was completely harmless in humans. But recent, highly controversial studies suggest that it might actually subtly alter human behavior too. Some studies have shown that humans infected with Toxoplasma gondii have slightly slower reaction times, take more reckless risks, and are actually involved in more car accidents than uninfected people. It's like the parasite is slightly nerfing our fear and caution responses, just like it does in mice. You might literally be taking unnecessary risks because a microscopic brain bug is tampering with your dopamine. If that isn't the definition of brain rot, I don't know what is. Alright, so fear can be deleted by genetics, and it can be hacked by parasites. But where do our deepest, most unexplained fears actually come from? Why are some of us terrified of spiders, even if we've never been bitten by one? Why are some people terrified of the dark, even if nothing bad has ever happened to them in the dark? Get ready, because the science of epigenetics is about to explain why your fears might not even belong to you. They might belong to your ancestors. In 2013, researchers at Emory University did an experiment that absolutely shook the scientific community. They took a group of mice and introduced them to the smell of acetophenone, which smells like sweet cherry blossoms. Every time the mice smelled the cherry blossoms, the researchers gave them a very mild but uncomfortable electric shock. Classic conditioning, right? Very quickly, the mice learned to associate the smell of cherry blossoms with danger. If they just smelled the scent, even without the shock, they would freeze in terror. But then, the scientists let those traumatized mice have babies. These baby mice had never been shocked in their lives. They had never even smelled cherry blossoms. But when the scientists introduced the cherry blossom sent to the baby mice completely panicked. They exhibited extreme fear. The researchers then let the babies have babies, the grandchildren of the original mice. And guess what? The grandchildren were also terrified of the cherry blossom smell. How is this even possible? The memories of the trauma were literally passed down through their DNA. This is a process called DNA methylation. Think of your DNA like the source code of a video game. Epigenetics are like patch notes that the developers drop over time. The trauma the grandfather mouse experienced actually changed the chemical tags on his DNA. It altered the genetic patch notes passed to his kids, basically saying, hey, update 2.0. Cherry blossoms are highly toxic, avoid at all costs. This implies that generational trauma is 100% valid biologically. Your irrational fears, your intense anxiety around certain things, it might not be a glitch in your brain. It might be an evolutionary warning system passed down from your great-great-grandparents who survived something horrific. You are literally carrying the echoes of their survival in your genetic code. So, if fear is this deeply ingrained, intense survival mechanism tied to trauma and brain-hacking parasites, why on earth do we go out of our way to pay for it? Why do we spend $20 to sit in a movie theater and watch a demon crawl out of a TV? Why do we wait in line for 3 hours at a theme park just to get strapped into a metal cart that drops us 300 feet straight down? Why do we engage in this massive dopamine farming? It all comes down to a concept called the excitation transfer theory. When you're sitting in a roller coaster car, slowly ticking up that massive hill, clank, 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 your amygdala is absolutely cooking. It doesn't know it's a theme park ride. It genuinely thinks you are about to fall to your death. Your sympathetic nervous system floods your body with adrenaline. Your heart rate is at 150 BPM. But then, the ride ends. You pull back into the station. You realize you survived. The instant your cortex realizes you are completely safe, the fear stops. But the intense physical arousal, the high heart rate, the adrenaline is still in your system. Your brain immediately floods your body with dopamine and endorphins to reward you for surviving. It's the ultimate high. You essentially get the massive biochemical rush of surviving a life-or-death situation, but with absolutely zero actual danger. It's a biological cheat code. We aren't actually addicted to the fear. We are addicted to the euphoric relief that comes the exact second the fear ends. So the next time you get jump-scared by a horror game or a movie, just remember, you are voluntarily hacking your own HPA axis for a hit of pure, unfiltered dopamine. That is some serious big brain energy. All right, let's recap this absolute madness. Fear isn't just a feeling. It is a hyper-complex, deeply evolved alarm system running on a VIP express lane in your brain. It can be completely shut down by a rare genetic glitch, hijacked by a cat-loving parasite straight out of a horror movie, and patched into your literal DNA by your traumatized ancestors. And yet, despite all of that, We have somehow evolved to hack our own biology just to feel the dopamine rush of surviving a fake threat. Human biology is absolutely unmatched. Now I want to hear from you. What was the most mind-blowing fact in this video? Are you now completely paranoid about your cat's litter box, or are you blaming your ancestors for your fear of the dark? Drop a comment down below right now, because I'm reading through them and the best ones are getting pinned. If this video absolutely shattered your perception of reality, do me a massive favor. Smash that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm to let us keep cooking. And if you want to keep expanding your brain and learning the most unhinged science facts on the internet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep your amygdala checked, touch some grass, and stay curious.
If this video made you think even for a second, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe to MindSpark for more mind-blowing ideas and tell me in the comments what topic we should explore next. Until next time, keep your mind curious.